And welcome, folks, to the talk show. Let the truth be told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And, folks, we got a great show today. We're going to talk a little bit more about Chicago and what's going on. Also, we're going to talk about Tisha James, the New York AG that got charged. And we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. It's all out Wednesday. If you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. We live in the studio right here in Chicago. Thank you. And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to God and my Lord and Savior, Yahusha, and that's Jesus, if you don't know. And I want to welcome everybody to the show. Folks, this is All Out Wednesday. I hope I'm in the right day. We got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of news to talk about. But I want to say this to the American people and patriots across this country. This is really a sad day for us because it is totally ridiculous that the Democrats are saying anything about what's going on in this shutdown. They're the ones who shut the country down, but now they're acting as if the Republicans shut the country down. President Trump is not knowing what he's doing, and yet they are still fighting for illegals. That don't make sense. The mayor of Chicago and the governor of Chicago have actually come out and waged war for the migrants. That means more taxpayer dollars are being used. They're hiding them in different places. They're using different tactics to keep them from being kicked out of this country, and they are here illegally. I don't know what it takes for a Democratic person, and I don't know what their mind tells them, but if you came to this country, and this is a country of rules and regulations, and you came here illegally, you have no rights. So that's the problem that the American people and patriots across this country should be looking at. Now that the Democrats continue to tell these illegals, all you got to do is stick around and we'll fight and we'll get amnesty. But that's not happening because the American people and patriots across this country voted that President Trump get them out of here. And that's what he's doing. And the fact of the matter is this, as J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson coming out in the open, not trying to say anything undercover because they are actually breaking federal laws, immigration laws, by aiding and abetting and stealing taxpayer dollars to give to illegals. And the most saddest thing of all is the black citizens. Now, black people, I got to say this before I bring my people on because we're going to talk about it for a minute. But I have to say this. 2 black Americans across this country. Nobody helps us. We're allowing the black leadership to have black people talking about how wrong it is for immigrations, and nobody said nothing about the black plight in this country. The illegals haven't stood with black people to say, y'all deserve to get reparations. The Hispanics haven't stood with us to say black people should have reparations. Nobody has stood with the black community under any circumstances, under any causes that we had. We filled the jails. racial profiling. There's no economics in our community. Our children can barely read or write. They're killing themselves in record numbers. And where is everybody else saying, let us help the Black community? Nobody's saying nothing. But Black people, you have to really think about what you're doing when you get up here and you let a Al Sharpton or a Jesse Jackson or Jamal Bryant or some of those house niggas that tell us that now we have to come out and fight because they coming after us next. That's totally ridiculous. It's a Democratic ploy. They have no solutions for our community. They continue to lie. They want to use this political rhetoric that they're using. And Black people, we do not get involved with this. We stand down because at the end of the day, if you help the illegals, they're taking the Black community over. So you're going to lose there. We're already at the bottom of the totem pole of the structure in this American country. We're always last, but yet we are the first people that they come to even after they invaded our neighborhoods. They brought crime, they brought gangs, they brought drugs, they brought child trafficking. They brought all of that to Chicago, put it in the Black community, and now they got Black people so psychologically messed up, like we got Stockholm syndrome. We're in captivity. And yet now all of a sudden we've been captured in the mind so long, we're welcoming our enemy to say, well, it's okay. You got us captive. We don't care no more. We'll take them. Just come on, bring them on in. That's the sad part. And at the end of the day, when you get them all in and you help them march and you help them fight, they're going to take the Black community over. And that's the end of the Black communities across the country. And then saying that, let me get my guest in. What's up, Randy?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Hello.
Hello.
Docs, y'all come. Hello. Listen, guys, what they're doing in Chicago is totally crazy right now. They're creating situations that's unsafe for our troops, unsafe for the citizens and all of that. And we're going to talk about that. But first, Doc, what you talking about down there, Alex Jones? What you talking about? You told me about it. Let's get it on. It's Wednesday. Ain't nothing sacred.
Okay, so apparently yesterday, the Supreme Court rejected the appeal of Alex Jones in his in the defamation suit that was brought against him from the Sandy Hook families. The Sandy Hook families are now looking for 2.75 trillion, in damages. Here's the deal. They're never going to see a penny of even the monies that they're going after him for, because he's already filed bankruptcy, right? With the first initial judgment of 1.4 billion, somewhere around in there, which was the first actual judgment that's what he was going to appeal, was the 1.4 billion. And what people don't understand about certain civil litigations is you cannot sue someone into poverty. Now they can't file what damages have been brought into bankruptcy, right? So if they say, okay, you owe this person $5 million, they can't turn around and file bankruptcy on that. They cannot do that. But what Alex Jones did do was they did file a Chapter 11 so that they could liquidate, so they could pay some restitution from the initial case and still battle back and forth. But now, nope, they're not going to see any monies because he's sold the InfoWars. He's created another InfoWars. So now you can't even go after that version of InfoWars because it's owned by somebody else. So Alex, even if he's an employee there, he's just an employee. There's nothing you can do. Under Texas law, you can't go after his house. You can't go after his car. You can't go after his land. Can't get anything. You cannot get blood from a turnip on this one. And so it's the lawfare. They have literally tried to go after people and make them debtor slaves, and we don't have that anymore in this country. There's protections for people, so you cannot do that civilly.
Well, I know who Alex Jones is now. At first, I didn't know who he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
InfoWars. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was on that show. Yeah, he got
Mm-hmm.
quite a few listeners, probably what, 20 million people
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to talk to him about two or 3 weeks ago on his
Okay.
show.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So
yep.
yeah, I know who he is now. Yeah. But you know what? That's the whole thing of it is, it's just like when Rudy Giuliani got sued by those black sisters down there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Shay and her
They're
mama.
never going to see 50 million.
They're not sisters. That's the Shay and her mama.
Her
Okay,
mama.
it's mama
Yes.
and a daughter's
Right.
situation.
Right. But they're never going to see $50 million
Did they
from
get
Rudy
any money
Giuliani.
yet,
No.
Patrice?
No.
They won't see it.
I ain't go get the dime.
It's like
Well,
your
I
judgments and
Let's pause that for a minute because you got to remember when they got that settlement, and it was under Biden, and she actually praised Biden before she pulled the suitcases. After it was the big thing down here in Georgia, so she already had praised Biden. Biden had already kicked her a little money to the side.
Yep.
All the people that was helping her at that time, Shay and her mama. Oh my God. She had a wild wig on. Yes, I remember this.
Yes.
But anyway, she's been paid by the Democratic Party. So enough of that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of courts, did you hear what Justice Jackson Brown, Brown Jackson, has compared the black race to? She literally, this is the redistricting. I guess they got oral arguments, and you got Clarence Thomas on one side.
Yes.
Of course, you got Justice Brown or Jackson, whatever, the woman that didn't know
Ketanji. Yeah.
was.
Oh, that's the one that said she don't even know she was a woman or not, right?
Right.
This is what she's saying, and this is the big thing that's going out there today. She compared the whole entire black community to disabled folks. So she said the idea of Section 2 is that we are responding to the current day manifestation of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they do not have equal access to the voting system, right? Because they are disabled. I ain't disabled. Can we stop this now, please?
What are you talking about?
This is her dissent today or her argument in court. You know how they go back and forth?
Yeah.
What we are talking about is Kenyatta Brown, the judge that Biden appointed. She doesn't even know she's not even a woman. She said, I'm a pronoun. And so she made a decision to say black people are disabled mentally and physically, so they need the Voting Rights Act, right?
And this is Jackson embarrassing herself elsewhere in an oral argument about the redistricting, because once they redistrict and they find out that Democrats don't have that much of a stronghold, Republicans and conservatives pick up 20 seats.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy?
Yes, thank you. In response to that, I will remind Justice Jackson Brown, or whatever her name is, I will remind her that, she tends to forget how she got there. She was voted in by black folks. Not to the Supreme Court, but I was just saying, like, as she rose through the ranks, as a judge, she was elected into judgeships. So she tends to forget that black folks probably voted for her, just perhaps for the simple fact that she was just black and didn't know, what her record was. So, okay, but nonetheless, let's set that aside. She was voted in. She was elected. So to give the idea, the notion that black people, and I find this ironic that black folks is the only population in the entire United States that have issues with voting. Not the Asians, not Samoans, not white people. No one else, Puerto Ricans, no one, only black people. It's befuddling to me.
We can't get there. We can't read.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. We can't get driver's licenses. We can't get IDs. We
need water. We need food. We need snacks, everything.
Yes, we're just this, unicorn of a population of people that can't do shit right. It seems like.
Oh yeah. You left out racism. You left out racism.
Yeah,
Stop
exactly.
that.
Dre, what's your thoughts? You down there with your hand in your chin. Get in here.
Oh gosh. Well, listen, like she's arguing for the wrong thing. Like to compare us to disabled folks or not having certain abilities, that's weird. because we've been able to overcome a lot of things. But if she wanted to compare the Black community and put some of them in a protected class, like they have handicapped people with reserved bathrooms, with reserved parking spots, then that would be a whole different argument that would make sense to people, and there would be data to back some of those things up. But what she has is an emotional argument to try to get these voting rights into play to protect Black people from the redistricting. And like anything that has to deal with race as the forefront is going to get knocked down. And she should know that as a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, I think she's using it as a Trojan horse, though, to actually allow. See, they use the word minority. And whenever they use that word, they're trying to include people on top of Black people to get rights for certain people that shouldn't even have them. I'm just saying.
Right.
Words matter.
And on that,
about that. Let's debate about that. Say that I like licking people, and I don't. Not even my husband. But still.
Right.
You don't tell me because I look like a bulldigger that I'm not allowed to vote in my own county because I went to the right precinct. That don't make no sense. Even a gay Black woman have the right to vote.
Yeah,
it's
not even that though. The problem is you have these coalition districts that were put together with minority majority voting blocks, and so when the Supreme Court came back and said, you know what, this is unconstitutional, you can't have this anymore, just recently, and so now that's what fueled this redistricting fight. It's like, okay, well, we can do this based on political achievement. We won the 2024 election, and so therefore we have a Republican majority in this country, so we have the right to redistrict. Kudos, very correct. Democrats do it all the time when they are in the majority. So what they're mad about is we're breaking up, the assumptive minority majority voting block and giving power back to actually the people to make the choice, to give them a choice as to who they're going to have on their ballots for primaries and general elections. And the Democrats don't want that. They want to say, we want to be able to pick our candidate, place them in this district, and have them run, funnel the money to them, and say, hey, this is your choice of a candidate. You don't get a voice in this. That's what they are avoiding, and that's what they hope.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They want to start installing people, and not the voices of these communities actually vote who they want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Breaking up the minority majority voting blocks. Actually give communities the choice. They actually makes them competitive districts. So that's the whole premise of the whole thing.
Well, I have to piggyback on what you were saying, Randy. To the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black citizens, why is it that everything bad happens in the Black community? And just like you said, nobody else have a problem voting, but just in the Black community.
Because we're the only ones that were given civil rights in 1866. You got to realize we were the only class of people within the United States, within the history, written legislation for civil rights, when it should have never been, because the Constitution says that all men are created equal. Civil rights shouldn't even exist, okay, because we all have civil rights equally, but they had to specifically write it for us because slavery ended after the Constitution. So that's why they keep going back to the well, which is completely dry. I don't even think there's a well anymore because we got civil rights. Like, what are we doing? What are you talking about?
I want to caveat to that, Dr. Ashaki. So what about the other minorities? You got, like I said, you got the Hispanic class, you got the Samoan class, you got all these other classes that are a smaller percentage, because we only make up 14% of the U.S. population.
Right.
So we're being treated with kid gloves, when it comes to political matters all the time. And it's like I'm like, hey, what about the Asian community? What about the Hindu?
Oh,
community?
they respect them. They respect them.
What the thing is, the sad thing of it is that at the end of the day, the Black community has been used and abused, and nothing ever has been coming to us but the same stuff that we see now. And I mean, it's like, when will the black, this is what I hear from my friends. We as a people, when will black people wake up and have their own stuff? We are always waiting for somebody else to
Oh,
say.
I can answer that. I can answer that damn question.
I know you can.
When John Podesta and the Democratic Party stop thinking that $20 in a welfare check is supposed to appease us, or being victims of something that we had nothing to do with.
But but still, yet though, it's something in our mind that we allow people to do these things to us, and we don't get nothing out of it. I mean,
we trust people.
Just like this. Okay, so I'm having a conversation with a friend of mine today, right? And she has a Haitian descent, and we're talking, and we're just going at it because she's saying that ICE is bad and this and that, they're evil and this and that, because you got people that here that are here illegal. And so she was discussing the fact that all these things that was being done, and I'm expressing the fact that I understand that too, but if you're here illegally, this country is set by structures and rules. You have to do it legally. You can't get mad if you come to my house and I say these are the rules, and then you say, well, I don't want to follow your rules, then I'm gonna put your ass out.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
And so this is what's happening to us.
Or you get carried out.
Right. Yeah, but see, you got to remember, they're carrying out the replacement migration plan put in place by the United Nations from the year 2000. Their intent is to carry this out fully by the year 2030. So they're on their trajectory, because 28 million have invaded the United States in particular, okay, out of the 12 countries that were supposed to be invaded. So they're on track to do what they're doing, but Donald Trump derailed their plans, because right now he's not supposed to be in the mix, period.
Right.
That's true.
See, the Democrats thought that they could have black people voting base and win. That's what the whole thing it was. They said, well, if we get the black people to come on out and they vote for us, then we can secure this election. All we got to do is trick them and tell them that we're going to do better than what we did the last time, and we get worse after we get back in. That's what the black community have been experiencing time and time again. But as black Americans, you would have to really ask yourself sometime, and this is why I say the black community, when it comes to leadership, have Stockholm syndrome, because black leaders are going along with the people that are destroying their communities.
Yeah, they're on the payroll. I mean, Maxine Waters herself was like, "Oh, black men voted for President Trump, and yeah, they're not getting jobs and they're not getting their education. It's all racism." I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? But she, again, it's like, you guys need to vote. You don't know what it's like and the power structure. And I'm like, you need to go away, because you don't care about black people. Because if you did, we'd be better off than we are, and we're not. All the black people left LA because there was nothing there for them.
Yeah, look at her district. In shambles.
Predominantly Latino. Black people had to roll out.
Just like Jasmine Crockett district. It's
no better. My God, her district is horrible, guys. We did a show about that. Remember the show we did?
Yeah.
It's like a ghost town there. No businesses, and winos sitting around in the lot smoking and cooking and barbecuing. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, but that's where it used to be a thriving business. Dre?
Did you guys see the Hellhounds released on Stephen A. Smith when he mentioned that the things that she wasn't doing, that she was doing?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Of someone of her stature. And they started attacking him, calling him all kinds of names. And
he said it so eloquently.
It was crazy. But the problem that we have in America is that with immigration, people have been living as pseudo-Americans for so long that Americans that are actually Native Americans actually believe that they are supposed to be here. So this is the problem that we're seeing psychologically with some of these black people and some of these other Americans that are just like, ICE is so evil. It is all because they believe that these pseudo-Americans are just as American as them. I had a conversation with my with one of my brother-in-laws, and he was just like, my neighbor got detained by ICE, and you know what? They're just as American as us. And I was just like, wait a minute, dude.
Yeah.
I know their situation, but you see like the emotion that is there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the students that I talked to in the HBCU internship that came from Dillard, some of them were from Texas, and they were just like, you know, this is all normal for us. Like we're used to going to school and doing things and having families with people that are illegal. So it has become natural now.
Yeah, they've normalized criminality, and it's sick.
Yeah, right. I say we go to Mexico. We take over Mexico. They want to come to the United States, fine.
They already kicked us out. They kicked us out earlier this summer.
But we gotta go down there and take it over. We just take it over. We just invade.
There were some businesses, American businesses,
black migration to Mexico. That's what I call it.
Right. But see, that's already been happening. And what happened? They started complaining about gentrification.
Yeah, because their wages and all their economy got messed up.
And I was like, why does this sound familiar?
We take it over. All right, I'm gonna be the new Marcus Garvey of the United States, and I'm calling for a movement to Mexico.
What are we gonna call it? The Mexican Star Line?
Yeah, there you go. But on real talk, that's the problem. Is that we have a migration crisis coming to the United States. And then it's a psychological game, or I would say a psychological warfare, to say that they're just as American as we are. And it's like, okay, fine. If they're just American as we are, then they need to pay taxes. They need to, contribute to the economy. They need to contribute to the communities, and they need to, come in the right way. File their paperwork. Go down to the nearest immigration office.
You can't just do 2 or 3 of them.
Right. Well, exactly. Then they're American, just as American as me. Otherwise, sure, we're all American because we live on the continent of America. So you got the North America, Central America, and South America. We could just eradicate the borders, and we could just have free flowing across each other's borders. Is that what you want?
We don't want free flowing.
Exactly. Nope. That's why we need to go take over Mexico.
We have over 300 ports of entry, legal ports of entry, and no one was vetted. Anybody is here, and that's the problem. And people are being abused behind closed doors, and there are other people. They're trying to get Black people to go outside. That's all this is. That is all this is. That's where I'm at.
What they've done is a systematic destruction of the Black community. Marriage for Black men and women are down from 80% to probably 9%. Our children in our schools are uneducated. They can't write cursive. They can't count. I mean, look at most of all the fathers who were taken out of the community that's locked up in the jails right now that ain't home with their families. And then our sisters can't raise men. And so these boys are looking for alternative lifestyle, like gay lifestyle, the down low lifestyle, and all those other things. So they haven't been taught by men. This was by design to bring the Black community to a place where it can be controlled. But after what we've seen this over and over again. Other places, this migration thing, they have replacement migration us all the way to the point where we're almost extinct right now. Because after this one right here, there would never be no more strong Black communities, because now that they've installed all the illegals into the Black community and they don't get them out, they're going to continue to bring more and more in.
I don't even think it's that right now, Pastor. I think it's the fatigue. We're tired. People are so fed up, sick and tired of having to be called everything you see on social media. That's not how we was raised. People, this Black fatigue, this victim mentality, everything that you see on social media, who they choose to portray in the news media, that is nobody sitting right here talking right now. But that's supposed to be the stereotypical type for what Black people truly are, and that's not us, and we're tired of it. A lot of people are tired.
Well,
it's propaganda.
What we should be tired of is losing all the time. We should be tired of seeing our kids going to jail and part of the prison system that is private. We should be tired of that. And we should be tired of all the other things that's being forced on us with the bad leadership. We should be tired of this whole thing that why is it that the only Black community has always had a problem with voting? We should be tired of a lot of things, but you know what? The most saddest thing of it is that we're almost destroyed. There's no more black communities that stronghold in America anymore. And the insult to injury is the fact that now you allowed the LGBT group to come in and infiltrate the black family. So there is no really black family.
Well, can we say this also? Let's take this back. I'm just being devil's advocate today. I would beg to differ in Memphis. I would beg to differ in Chicago. I would beg to differ a lot of places that the military has been in there for the last month. I'm seeing videos of regular moms and dads and grandmothers literally showing pictures of what it was when we was growing up. Kids on bikes riding in the street. They haven't heard gunfire in a very long time since National Guard and the military came in and the jump out boys have came in and cleaned up a lot of these areas. There's that community coming back out in the street, and there's aunties sitting back on the porches.
Can I tell a quick story to just confirm what Lucretia said? So I went to a meeting on Capitol Hill, and the person leading the meeting was saying that they took the National Guard out of his area for a little while. And he said that a few days after they took the National Guard out of there, someone was shot 5 times in broad daylight at the apartment complex across the street from him. So like the National Guard presence is definitely making a difference, Lucretia. And I've seen the videos of the kids on the bike. We need to get back to those safe communities. And if having them there is facilitating that, then we need more of it. Now, what the left is saying, and people from the CBC, what they're saying is that it is a temporary fix, that the relationships that they built with the communities will go down, and that in cases with ICE, violence will go up in the community because ICE will be abusing people, which is all wrong factually. Like if the psychologists, it works, get your city together and then incorporate the psychologist. Don't try to do that from jump and then keep asking for more and more money to make your process work that you're putting a Band-Aid on.
No, they just want people adjusted to living in crime. They want people to accept a criminal behavior and mentality, like it's okay to live under siege like this with the criminals. But if you try to stop the criminals, how dare you? Right? You cannot right this wrong. And Jamie Raskin even said it. And this is kind of crazy. And he's a congressman. He was just like, yeah, a little bit of crime is okay. What? Sir, no crime.
Where he live at? Where do he stay? In a gated community?
Oh,
somewhere?
a completely gated community.
Yes.
Right? When you was talking, there was a old saying that ran through my head, and I haven't heard it in a while. You will have a bigger party for someone getting out of prison than somebody graduating from college.
That's true, man. That's very true. Very true. But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
But the thing of it is that why is the black community, and I keep saying it and I'm thinking in my mind, and to black citizens, we have to ask ourselves some very serious questions about why our communities are so tore up and yet everybody else's community is intact.
Because we went through COINTELPRO, we found out about it, and we continue to allow it. That's why. That's the short answer.
To be on those privatized prisons, they no longer can really have slaves, quote unquote. So let's go ahead and be slave to the culture, and you just be free labor to all of the rich folks to begin with that you're trying to get away from.
Well, those are great answers, but it's a lot of reasons, and I think the most important one is leadership. It is the most important of all because we've elected black leaders who are supposed to be fighting for the black community. You would think that Lyndon Johnson would be fighting against crime being in Chicago, but he's not. He's fighting to keep the crime going in Chicago.
He's a part of COINTELPRO.
And black people should see that. You would think that it's right in our face. This is what I call the Stockholm syndrome, because this situation of black people seeing this mayor and this governor in our face, they have literally destroyed the state by taking money, telling black people we gonna help you and we ain't gonna help you, saying there's no reparations, but yet you're finding money to invade our communities and let people take over. And now all of a sudden, You're tricking it and turning it around and telling black people, we need y'all help now. Y'all need to help us fight because the illegals are just like y'all. Y'all came over, and that's some bullshit.
And here's another one. You need a leadership. We don't need leadership in the black community. We need the Black Road Brigade.
We need black men and women to stand up and do the right thing. That's what we need.
Because our whole entire culture, our whole entire lifeline has always been leading back to God, back to the pulpit, back to the biggest piece of chicken on Sunday mornings, back to it. That's what we need. We need that Black Road Brigade back in the church to bring back that leadership that we're looking for in politics, when we should be looking for it in God and our leaders in God.
But
Man,
you know
like
what?
I said, we still got to get rid of COINTELPRO mentality. Like it is become a culture within the FBI, within our governments at the federal, state, and local level. It is a cancer that is destroying our communities. I'm telling you, it's COINTELPRO. That's what it is.
But
did you say go and tell a pro?
COINTELPRO. That's what killed Malcolm X. That's what killed Martin Luther King. That is what's killed a lot of our black leadership that tried to get us out of where we are. COINTELPRO, you know, J. Edgar Hoover said it. He said the biggest threat is Negro unity. So they've done their job keeping us disunified and hating one another and killing one another. That's the problem. We don't see it. Once we see it, we can get over it, but we don't see that.
But I think that it is. I think that it has gotten so far now through the generations, and hopefully this upcoming generation. Because I was talking to some people today about this new generation is saying we want to separate. They want to separate and get their own stuff, and they don't want to be mingled with whites. And so, you know, that's that Malcolm X mentality. Because
wait. You know the other
9 grandkids. I got 9 grandkids, and they all under the age of 14. Got 2 pure white ones, got 3 biracial, and I got the other ones fully black. I wish they come out their mouth with some tomfoolery like that. I would throat punch every last one of them. Anybody that put this idolatry of skin is headed straight to hell. God is not segregation. I wish one of my grandchildren would try that pro-black crap. If they want to, they will get back smacked quickly. We're not going to play that in my family or my bloodline.
But we have to say this too now, and I'm gonna let you expound on this. I think, I have to say this.
We got to get rid of COINTELPRO.
I think that we have to come to a segregation in our minds because we have to focus on the black community. We have to focus on rebuilding the black community because it's in shambles right now.
How I get my card back? Because, you know, they snatched my card when I refused.
It's needed because...
How do I get my card back?
Let's think about this. Now, I want to put this in your head now. All the other races, they stayed tight-knit together. Nobody's going to come in their community and do things. But the black community has not ever focused on itself. It never focused on itself. We focus on everybody else. But if we focused on ourselves, just like everybody else does, and make great schools, build our neighborhoods, we make enough money. If we focus on ourselves and then put ourselves together and create our communities and the family structure back, then we can continue to associate with everybody else.
Which one you want to be? You want to be Sambo or you want to be Uncle Tom? You want to be Aunt Mammy or you want to be, you trying to speak proper? You want your black card snatched or you ain't part of the black community? Do you want to go ahead and not have a party or be celebrated because you just got out of prison? That's either or. There's no fence riding right now. And this side is to empower this side. I could care less about the WAP community because if it's that wet down there, you need to go to a gynecologist.
Yeah,
I would say real quick to piggyback off Dr. Nichols, the other issue that is not discussed to include COINTELPRO, and she's absolutely right about that, and I'm glad she brought that up because we're also missing Operation MK Ultra that's going on to this very day, and also Operation Mockingbird. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what those two things are, you need to go look. All three actually, COINTELPRO MK Ultra, and Mockingbird. Look those things up, and you'll see these are the exact programs that our government is
Yes.
instituting in our societies against us to keep us pitted against us. And they know that once we recognize those things and say, hey, let's forego, fighting against each other and pay attention and have a laser eye focus on the government and what they're doing, they're in deep shit.
Now, I want you to go to a generalized conversation or even a group of Black people. When you started saying MK Ultra, grin, huge. When you started talking about the Mockingjay, huge grin. When you start talking about a constitutional republic and not a democracy, you're going to see me get even brighter in my smile, because you understand that just the knowledge that you know would make other people blink. They have no idea what you are talking about.
Exactly.
Because you are that smart, they're going to even consider you not a part of the culture. And I'm so sick of that.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right.
So I'm going to kind of piggyback off of everyone. I do think that we have become so divided in the Black community. And one of the things that I try to do is I try to bring people together. So last week, I was kind of like grieved in my spirit because I was seeing all of this misinformation about ICE and how Black people should be feeling like they're next. And one of the things that I did was I brought together a panel from different states to start discussing what they were seeing in their specific state. So these were grassroots people. And I was like, hey, like Durham, North Carolina, what's happening with ICE? What are you seeing there? And I think that these conversations and getting those conversations out there are really going to bless people. And even this conversation that we're having right now is really going to bless people with the right information and to get people out of their silos, because everybody's in their silo. They have their algorithm pouring into them on their social media. They're not hearing a lot of this conversation that we're having. They're not seeing what's happening in Durham, in Portland, in Memphis, in Chicago. They're missing a lot of things. So they think that what they're seeing is all that's happening, and that's not the truth.
Well, for the lack of knowledge, of people will perish. And that's what I'm seeing in my community, because Black people aren't well informed about what's going on. Because just like I was speaking to the sister today, and she was talking about all the same things that the Democrat had put into the minds of the people, that Trump now sending money to Israel, but yet he shut the government down. Well, the money was going to Israel anyway. The Democrats shut the government down, and now they're using this political ploy with the media to try to make it seem like it's Trump's fault for shutting the government down, when all actuality, they're really trying to get Black people emotional.
And see, we're still talking about the $98.3 billion that they just passed in the defense bill, right? Nobody's talking about how much that was passed. In the
remember, he literally just said it. This is part of the Mockingjay agenda. This is Mockingbird media is what you're seeing. The media of fear, propaganda, the NDAA Act of 2012 that no one's wanting to talk about, the repealing and the Smith-Mundt Act. So when some of this stuff, we could see it, that this MK Ultra, which they denied for years and then they unredacted, this is boldly true. And it's like, how do we understand, or we even heard about it and can hold a intelligent conversation? But when you talk to just random society people, they don't want to know that they're being manipulated by the powers that be.
And that's because, like I said, that Stockholm syndrome gets you to a place where you think your enemies are your friends. And so a lot of Black people aren't researching, because that's what I'm running into. They'll make a statement about this mindset you're supposed to have. Now you're supposed to hate Trump. You're supposed to come to the rescue of the migrants. And so Black people now, this is the whole trajectory of where they're going for Black people with this thing. And Black people who do not know will pick up on these other things and say, well, I hate Trump for this, and the president is doing this. This is what I heard. I heard that the president shut the government down and gave Israel some money. Well, check this out. Joe Biden opened up the borders and they gave migrants the money to invade the Black community. Wake up, twit.
And they gave them money.
We have to get back to that old saying of each one, teach one.
Teach one. Thank you.
Each one, teach one.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
for a reason, because it was that peer-to-peer education. That's how this happens, and that's how this works. And when somebody comes back and says, hey, you're like, here's the documentation.
Yeah.
This is where you can find it. And as long
Well,
as
if you
we're good
notice
sources for each other,
that
we're better off.
peer-to-peer, the world changed during COVID and everybody muzzled up and everything went quiet.
Yes.
So that's what it is. That's why you couldn't be around your family. That's why you couldn't be around your friend. They took away your freedom of everything, but what they couldn't do is take away your freedom of speech and how you talk. And they couldn't shut down the internet. So what could they do? Separate us from speaking to each other and really telling what's going on. And now we sitting here watching people die at the wayside.
Yeah. And the other thing. Oh, go ahead, Pastor.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the other problem that we have in society along the lines of social media and technology is that the Patriot Act went awry. It was a great thing that we all cheered for when 9/11 happened. But after that, it was like, okay, we no longer have that threat. We got these other threats, and it's the American people that are the threat. So let's apply the Patriot Act to these people now. And that's what we get into the surveillance state that we have right now. And it's interesting that when you go on social media, you try to tell somebody something like MK Ultra, like Mockingbird, or COINTELPRO, or even telling them, hey, there's illegals literally being bussed in by your politicians to put them into your community.
Yes.
Show me, give me the documentation on that. What are you talking about? See, that's your damn problem right now. You want me to provide you proof on something that you can look up and research yourself or see for yourself. And because once I give you that information, you're not going to look at it because you're still going to be in denial. I want you to do the research. If I tell you something and you don't believe me, you research what it is that I said.
Yep.
That's what we failed. That's what we failed to do.
Yep.
This is ICE doing their job.
The Chicago area is seeing a surge in federal immigration enforcement under Operation Midway Blitz. More than 1,500 people have been arrested in Illinois since the Department of Homeland Security launched the operation. DHS reported that those arrested include pedophiles, gang members, and armed robbers. The operation is being described as a major effort to make Illinois safer for residents and communities. As per the Trump administration, the increased activity aims to remove dangerous criminals from local streets. The DHS emphasized that this crackdown is part of a broader nationwide enforcement initiative. Law enforcement said that Operation Midway Blitz demonstrates a renewed commitment to public safety. The authorities have warned of similar actions in other states to curb violent crime linked to illegal immigration.
Now, guys, your thoughts on that? And this is what I'm saying. Let me lay the groundwork. If you came here illegal, you have no rights. You are here illegal, and if you allowed illegals to come in, you're breaking federal law and you're aiding and abetting criminals. The floor is open.
Yeah, but
again,
do it again.
That's all I see. I mean, because if it was Little Pookie or Ray Ray or Lucretia or Tyrone, our heads would be slammed in the concrete.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. And the thing about it is they gave these individuals a status. That's the problem. That's why I keep saying it's the legal wordplay. They call them residents. They're not citizens. They called them undocumented. Again, they're not citizens. They are here illegally. They committed a crime. Them and their families. If you brought your children over here, they're criminals as well. Like everybody needs to go, but people want to sit here and be like a bleeding heart. Like, well, we should know. And unfortunately, a lot of their cases have been set 10 years out. You would think, why are they set so far out? Because once you're here for 5 years and you found to have no criminal activity, you can actually apply for citizenship. according to our laws. Even if you've come over here illegally, that's the problem. They're really not following the law. And now that it's being enforced, they got a problem.
Yeah,
Right?
you're absolutely right. And the I would the follow up on that. Just go down to your local ladies and gentlemen. Just go to your local DMV office. Go to your Social Security office. Just sit in the parking lot. Just people watch. If you're bored, which most of you are, you're bored. Don't be feeling like you got something to do. Just go down there and sit down there for a couple hours and just watch and see what the traffic is, what that demographic look like, and then you ask yourself, are they actually legal citizens actually getting stuff? And you hear the operative word I just used there, legal citizens. Are they actually just getting updates to their stuff getting done? Probably not. They're probably getting, they probably got some backdoor program going on where they're going in there getting these fake licenses and fake IDs and social security numbers from people that's been dead for over 10 years. And there you go. This is how they're negating the system.
Yeah,
And
they
folks,
actually
it's crazy. Wake
they
up.
did that CDL license.
Yes,
that
absolutely,
illegal
exactly.
name unknown. That's on the driver's license.
Yeah, name unknown. Crazy stuff. It's
That's your last name.
Right, you got
Name unknown.
Name
What?
unknown.
Yeah, just a little.
And you got a CDL? What?
We're in a situation where we're seeing people being detained and our border enforcement laws being observed. And what a lot of people don't see, because their heartstrings are being pulled by seeing people being detained and dragged out and sometimes embarrassed, is that this is a great opportunity for Americans.
Yes.
We have so many Americans that are out of work. We have incarcerated people right now that are formerly incarcerated, that are free, that can't get work because people don't trust them. But we're so quick to trust these illegal aliens to come in that we haven't vetted to do the work. This is a perfect opportunity for Black Americans. And if all these people that said, oh, Black people haven't gotten a chance and we've always been enslaved by the system, here's our chance. Here's our chance to get above this system, to get our head above water. And you guys are sitting here trying to complain about illegal aliens being detained. Wake up.
Here's a perfect example. Just in Georgia alone, the 390 something people at the Hyundai plant. Yeah. Well, they was the South Koreans. Well, it came to find out they had 480 something openings immediately for Americans, Georgians, but of course, Alabama and Mississippi people don't slide over here. But then they're guaranteeing to hire 3,000 more American and Georgian citizens for the Hyundai plant alone.
Well, you know what? I'm going to call them and ask them if we can start submitting employees to them so Black folks can get a job. That's one of
they can get down there. It's in Middle Georgia. And if you could get to the Hyundai plant, this is guaranteed. It came out it made huge news. So that was like 3 weeks ago. So they cannot fill up all those positions that fast. Yeah. So I would say, like I said, people are going to be traveling from at least Alabama and Mississippi just to fill in an application because they're paying top dollar.
Yeah, we was talking about that earlier today on how, Dre, what you said is that now that the illegals are being ran out of our country, job openings for everywhere, all over the country, jobs are booming. This is the perfect time for the Black community to put their kids into these positions, even if they have to be trained.
Did anybody see the video with what happened? Sorry.
I was gonna say breaking news: the Black unemployment rate fell to 0 today.
Yes,
it's true.
It's coming. It's coming, Randy. It's coming.
Yeah, I believe it.
Anybody see the interview that Don Lemon did with the Black gentleman in New York?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one of the things that he highlighted, Don Lemon tried to tell him that there weren't enough people to work. And he said BS. He said there's 15 people in the projects that he could bring over right now and put them in jobs that want to work. And I'm just like, why don't we let him do that? Because these companies who have never wanted to hire Black Americans or don't know how to hire them, they need to reach out to people like this. Give these people an opportunity to show themselves worthy to do this type of work, that they can be efficient in doing it. Like, we need to get creative on how we're hiring people. You putting a job application out there and hoping that somebody's going to pick it up in cyberspace may not work. You know, when they wanted Black people to come that were formerly enslaved to come up to the factories in the North, they sent people down to the South to recruit them off the farms, dressed up as insurance agents. Like, come on, like, go down into the hood, send somebody to the projects, hire somebody to go down to the projects and bring some people to work in Middle Georgia.
And if it's trade, there's so many trade. Got Athens Tech, you got Georgia, you got so many different trade organizations that is willing to teach you a trade even while you're in school, so you can have that trade by the time you're out of school and you're debt free. But they want you to go to a liberal college.
Yeah, and they're paying people to learn trades now.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
In the 70s, when I got out of high school in 1974. There were so many manufacturing jobs throughout America. You could quit the job in the morning and get another job in an hour. And that's what this is the situation for Black people in our community, that these young people now can get into these positions and make careers 10, 20 years at a position like that. You can take care of your family. You can become a man because you can be responsible and do the things men do. You can't do nothing if you don't have no money.
Right.
So
this would be the perfect time.
This is the perfect time, Drake.
For the Hyundai plant to go down to these schools with recruiters and be like, hey, this is what we do at the Hyundai plant. Let's put some money in these schools to create a pipeline for you guys to get these people right out of high school to come directly to Hyundai. Let's teach them the skills in school so that we don't have
That's what they used to do.
Recruit people.
That's what they used to do.
Exactly. And it's not Middle Georgia. It is it's South Georgia is what you call impoverished and very rural. You got all these, not a lot of hospitals and stuff. So for that Hyundai plant to be in South Georgia, and thank you so much, April Smith, that is going to allow a lot of people that lives in the impoverished areas that politics forget about in Georgia. That's going to give them a leg up in their communities.
Absolutely.
The other thing, the one thing here in Austin, the Tesla plant here in Austin, they send a shuttle an hour, 2 hours out to pick up people. They say, hey, have your ass at this bus stop at 4:00 in the morning.
Right, exactly.
And they pick them up and they bring them to work. They just like, all you got to do is just that way you ain't got to drive your own car. We will pick you up and bring you to work because we need you here. So that's what they do here. That's amazing.
Now this is the thing that I was talking about earlier. Now, for our children to really get involved in Chicago or any other children, we need to start teaching them how to get through an employment process. And that's why I say we're trying to look at ways. The foundation, Living and Driving While Black Foundation, is looking at ways on how can we become a pipeline for these employers, for Pookie and Ray Ray out there running around with their pants down so that they can learn how to do something to take care of it.
Somebody get a van and go to the Home Depot. You know what I'm saying? Or go in the neighborhood and find the construction site and say, hey, I see you're low on day laborers. I got you some.
They won't hire you because you got to come through the union. That's how they got that set up.
But they still hire day laborers. If they're hiring them people from Home Depot to go to those construction sites, they will hire Americans.
Well, they might get the jobs now because all the illegals are running up.
They gone.
So
that's the problem.
They ain't showing up at Home Depot. I'm just saying.
Pastor Larry's point, about the unions, you can't get a job unless you go through the unions and do the labor union contracting work. That is something that I'm not an advocate of government stepping in and doing stuff, but that would be something I would support. Is hey, we need to open up these barriers for regular American people.
They're open up for illegals,
right?
Why can't they be open up for Americans?
And that's the problem. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Exactly. It happens. Like Randy is saying, like it's not a job. Like if they're paying them under the table and they're not getting benefits. But for Americans, you can't get your foot in the door if you're not going through the proper channels. So you're right, Dr. Shack. We need to open up these channels so that Americans get
so they can work to get into the union. Right?
That's
don't just box people out.
We was having a discussion today on how that we can prepare our young men and women to get these positions because they are open and they will have an opportunity to get themselves into a place where they can do and take care of themselves. So psychologically, we have to get them ready. And that's what I'm going to be reaching out to that Hyundai plant, Lucretia, tomorrow, because I just spoke to some people earlier today and said that we want to be able to send our people there. We need to know what the requirements are to get employment, because if these young guys really knew that they could get into a position and they can start making the kind of money they can take care of themselves and their kids and families, they can grow to become men and get married and have families.
Right. And let's
you know what the problem is?
Go ahead.
You know what the problem is? Remember back in the 1950s when the automobile industry blew up in Georgia, in Detroit. And Chicago and up north, and the South, the Black South migrated out and said, you know what? Because my grandfather and his brothers, they was part of that movement. My grandfather left Tennessee, left out of the Memphis area in 1955, and came to Chicago. And that's what they're afraid of happening now, is that we have a rebirth of a black boom into the tech industry of 2025 and beyond. That's what they're afraid of. They're like, no, we can't do that.
That would create black communities and neighborhoods again. That's the independence that I'm talking about.
Yeah, we actually have a Meta data center here in South Georgia as well.
Yep. I got to play this clip, y'all. This is what the Village Idiot said about people and President Trump. This guy really is, he's almost beyond words. Here he goes.
In this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America. That's right. He's more interested in giving billions of dollars to other nations, while farmers in urban cities around this country are literally being destabilized.
All right, y'all can comment on that, what he just said.
What is he talking about? Every time he talks, it's like, you know what? My question is pending, right? Because he never answers the question. He's got a talking point, and he's gonna see it through to the end, no matter how crazy it sounds. It's insane.
Dre, go ahead.
I might need to go last because I've got a lot. Like if Randy or Lucretia want to go.
I would just say, it's that gaslighting. That's what that is. That's that circular talk, talking out both sides of your mouth, gaslighting. And it's typical for him because no one's listening to him at the end of the day. You see black folks stand behind him like this.
But that's the thing, that's the problem that I'm having. He's talking about things that he already done did to the black community.
Yeah, exactly.
He done took money, gave it to the illegals, and now he acting like the president is doing something wrong by sending money to Israel, and he should be sending it to Chicago, when all Brandon is doing is taking the money and giving it to the. Go ahead, Dre. You got a few things to say.
Yeah. So, a lot of times when people are losing, they start swinging a lot harder. Right? They start swinging for the fences. And what have we seen lately? We've seen incendiary language with Mayor Brandon and Mayor Pritzker. We have people out there with laser lights trying to take down helicopters. We've seen people protesting naked, out there in Portland. They're removing the fence in Chicago, saying that, if we remove this fence, the emergency vehicles and things will be able to get by more smoothly. But really, they want to impede upon ICE operations. So they're swinging so hard. And even in LA, they are giving rent to rent. They're having a rent moratorium.
Yes.
In LA right now, because a lot of these illegal aliens are scared to go to work. Now, my whole problem is this. Why didn't they have a moratorium when they had all these open air drug use places on Skid Row that were destroying the community. Why didn't they have a rent moratorium when so many people were losing their homes because the prices were astronomical? Where was the moratorium then? Someone got on because I made the comment that there is proof that there are sanctuary cities that put illegal aliens before Americans. And they were asking me, well, how is that possible? What data do you have to prove that? I was like, look at any sanctuary city and you'll see that. But look at LA. Look what they're doing. They're doing this for a second time. And they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, that to the Black community, we have to really have our eyes open so that we can see what's actually happening to us. And for those of you who are still voting Democrat, and for those of you who want to go out there and you want to impede ICE and you want to jump out there and they talking about you in Spanish that you can't even speak. You can't even speak.
Wait a minute. And I didn't mention that there are no ICE zones. They want to go back to the Biden administration of allowing people to talk trash from a church while they're protesting and telling people to come into the United States illegally.
Yep.
Well, and that, what you got to say, Chris? Go ahead.
Well, I was just throwing through my head. Now they're even trying to get the Vatican involved, saying shame on Trump for getting rid of the illegals, and he's from Chicago. No, then you take them in your whole country of the Vatican. You got enough room over there, or at least underneath.
They won't do. Oh, he won't do that. Oh, no. You tell Rome, because they had this problem when I was living in Naples. You tell Rome that you want to get rid of the migrants and all that stuff, and you want us to take them in and all this and and show mercy. Open up your gates. They'll be like, never mind. Y'all do what y'all gotta do.
Yeah, they will shut all that down.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Don't worry about it.
One more example of how they're really swinging hard. Now the cartel is sending out bounties for ICE officers. So it started out with the gangs, the local gangs that were doing it. Now it's gotten so bad, they've closed up the border. They've messed up their whole operations. They can't traffic children and drugs. So now they're telling people, hey, we'll pay you all this money. You just got to take out one of these ICE officers. Or if you let us know who they are, we'll give you $5,000. It's a tiered system that they have.
Yeah, and I think the cartels are more than likely working with certain parties that I won't mention.
It's the Democratic Party. You might as well go with it.
Like, let's just be open. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we know who they're working with.
But how could Brandon Johnson, who get on the TV and tell everybody that they came in the South Shore, that the creme de la creme gang, 600 people in a building, 600 people in the building. I tried. It didn't come out right. But 600 people in the building is already in shambles. And he talking about the building was bad and they selling dope and you mad because ICE came in and cleaned the place up.
Mm-hmm.
This is what J.B. Pritzker had to say, guys. We'll talk about this.
J.B. Pritzker, the Illinois governor, and in their state, because they're refusing to do that. Texas is using just a small part of our National Guard.
That small part that Governor Abbott is referring to is 200 Texas National Guardsmen on the ground in the Chicago area. Don't forget, Texas is a big place. Their mission is to protect federal officers and property. However, local lawmakers continue to push back on the crime and immigration efforts. Let's bring in Trump administration border czar Tom Homan. Tom, good to have you with us. Here's what federal agents in Chicago are facing, among other things. A governor that can't help but denigrate federal law enforcement. Listen here.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
Get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago. Language like that in the wake of what happened in Dallas. What's your response?
Well, it's disgusting. I've been saying for months, I think I said start back in March. If the hateful rhetoric didn't stop from politicians, from mayors and governors and some members of Congress, there will be bloodshed. And of course, I was attacked for saying that. Well, unfortunately, I was right. There has been bloodshed. We've had 3 shootings in Texas alone. One ended up with a man with a rifle shooting at a Border Patrol facility that was killed by Border Patrol agents. Another gunman attacked a facility, detention facility in Alvarado, Texas, where an officer was shot in the neck. And thirdly, you got the sniper event in Dallas, Texas, where detainees were shot and killed. He met the hit ICE officer. So look, it's going to continue. And it's not over. And I've seen this movie before. Unless this rhetoric stops, there will be more harm, especially to the men and women at ICE. Governor Pritzker should be calling President Trump up and thanking him for taking over 1,000 criminal aliens off the streets of his state. The same President Trump did in Los Angeles, the same he did in Washington, D.C., the same we're doing in other cities. We're there to make the city safer. And you think Governor Pritzker and the Mayor Johnson, their number one responsibility is protection of their communities. Remove public safety threats from the public. We're there to do that. And we're not going to stop doing it. They can stand aside and watch us do it, but we're going to be out there tonight. We're going to be out there tomorrow. And thank God for Governor Abbott. He's sending troops out there to help protect ICE officers who have over 1,000% increase in attacks. So President Trump's doing the right thing. We're going to continue doing the right thing. We are not stopping what we're doing.
This is
Okay, guys, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Abbott did send a lot of those illegals there initially, right? There was a batch sent there. I'm just saying there was a batch sent there, and Pritzker had the ability to deport them, and he deported some of them to Miami. Let's not forget they played ping pong with these people's lives for a little bit, but no one was deported. They never sent them back to where they came from. No one followed the law until it was beneficial, until they started being given money to actually traffic these people. And so the trafficking is over. The money has stopped. People are mad because now they're not going to get paid anymore. Now they're left holding the bag. They're mad because Trump won't send them money. This is not necessarily about deporting people. This is because the flow of the money stopped.
And their votes. You got to remember their voting blocks stops.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll just to echo Dr. Shack. You're right. Governor Abbott did send busloads up to New York, Chicago, I believe Atlanta. And they said, we're welcome with open arms. We are situated.
Yeah, they did. They welcomed. They wanted it.
Bring some more. Give us more, actually. And so we was like, all right, Charlie Mike, we got you. and so that's what happened. And then now they're crying like, oh my God, we got a crisis up here. We can't handle all of this. And give us more money, federal government, aka taxpayers across America, raise these taxes so we can take care of these people. And now it's all come to a head, and now the government shut down because Democrats want $1.2 trillion extra dollars to take care of illegal immigrants through medical services. Hell no.
Dre?
Send them back.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of continue this discussion that Dr. Nichols and Randy are having about Governor Abbott and him sending these migrants to these other places. One of the things that Governor Abbott tried to do, he tried to work with the Biden administration. He said, I need more help protecting our border. Our cities that are across these borders are getting overwhelmed. We're having all these problems. We have drills at our elementary and middle schools to teach people what to do when there are people fleeing border patrol. So it was a mess in his area, and he heard all this rhetoric from sanctuary cities. Yeah, bring me your tired, you're hungry, we'll take you. We'll protect you from that mean old Grinch Donald Trump. And he was like, a light bulb went off in his head. And he's like, I can send these people here and I can share some of this load that I've been carrying, that the state of Texas has been carrying for decades. So he did that. And once they got overwhelmed, they started complaining. And like Randy said, they started to ask for more money. And when that money didn't come, their budgets went further in the red. And now we're at the situation where they'll still take them, but they're still hoping
they get that money.
Will give them more money. Or they're going to raise taxes on local Americans who didn't ask for these migrants to come there.
Right.
Chris, you want to say something?
It is hurtful that you know that this has been a situation. I can hear rumors in the 90s of people that was on Section 8 that was getting kicked out of Section 8 for illegals. And that was in SWATs. That was in California right now. But now you have Gavin Newsom and his crew talking about studying reparations all over again when California has never been a slavery state. It's a crock of crap. And the way they placate the Black community and the way we continue to believe in what they got to say, it's just horrible. And we're going to for always, I don't think we're going to ever be past 13% because we can't stop killing each other.
You're right about that. And the birth rate in the Black community is low. It's almost...
Margaret Sanger didn't target the white community. She targeted the Black community. So you never see a Planned Parenthood in any community with houses at $250,000, but you will always see a Planned Parenthood on the rough side of town. And it's not just Black community, because the white community alone since Roe versus Wade have slaughtered over 52 million babies. So that's 4 generations from the white community slaughtered off the face of the earth. And now you got over 25 million in the Black community. And we just found out that some of these elite colleges actually take aborted fetuses, baby body parts, and do Frankenstein experiments for what? We ruled by evil, and we always wondered why America ain't in Revelations.
Well, we are in Revelations. We're in that time. Listen, guys. Brandon Johnson had a press conference, and I'm going to play a list and get your thoughts on it. There's a reporter named William Kelly. I think he works with the Daily Ball or something like that. But anyway, he has been going to these press conferences, but he had been giving Brandon Johnson hell about certain issues. And so I'm trying to work to get William Kelly on our show so that we can sit with him and the panel can talk to him. And I wanted to play a little bit of who this guy is, because they did not let him at this governor's press conference that they had the other day. And he kind of, he was trying to be nice to Brandon, but I'll just play the clip. Y'all check it out.
Had it been your wife, Stacey, would you want ICE to deport her, to deport that illegal alien? Yes or no? Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man.
You must see this entire exchange with a furious reporter, William J. Kelly, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Over the last week, I've literally interacted with over 300,000 plus real Chicagoans who say that it is hate speech for you to evoke the Civil War, to evoke bringing back the Confederacy, to say that law enforcement is a sickness when you yourself have over 150 sworn police officers on your detail. What do you say to these people, and will you ask your 150 sworn police officer CPD detail to stand down if you and your wife Stacey are ever attacked, shot at, or rammed with a protester vehicle?
First of all, I'm sorry to hear that your numbers of interactions have gone down to only 300,000.
Actually millions, but personally I've interacted with over 300,000, believe it or not.
It went down this week.
No, it's going up. Higher than yours, by the way. By the way, check out your comments. Check out the comments on your feed.
I think it's important to be able to make sure that to the people that you're talking to, though you're talking to less and less people every week, is that they know the truth. Here's what I've said. That the addiction on jails and incarceration and the addiction of militarism, it is an evil. Dr. King made that very clear.
Really? What?
He did. Wow. And so I believe it's incumbent upon us to make sure that the real Chicagoans or the real people of America, instead of sending billions of dollars overseas, we should be spending it on the people right here in the city of Chicago.
Well, the real Chicagoans that I talk to, that I communicate with, mostly black and brown, actually, tell me that you don't seem to know the difference between illegal aliens and real Chicago citizens. They feel that you are siding with the illegal aliens over them in their communities. And sadly,
let's get to the question.
Let's get to the question. The real question is simply this. I don't know how to make it any more direct. An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacy, would you want ICE to deport her, to deport that illegal alien? Yes or no? Answer the question as a man, not as mayor, but as a man. Would you want ICE to deport that rapist? No? Okay. That's the answer. That's the answer for real Chicagoans.
Mayor, sorry for being late to traffic's bad. Maybe the Fed.
You're not blaming me for the traffic.
Guys, your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Again, the question is pending. Okay, always with Brandon Johnson. My question is pending because he never answers the question. He starts off with just some random thought that he has, and then he tries to weave it in. I'm like, bro, it's very direct. He's using it as an example. Would you, as a man, want this person deported? It's a very closed question. It's not open-ended. It's closed. It's yes or no. But he can't answer it because he sold his soul. He sold his soul, and it's very evident that he did. The Democratic Party runs him. That's who runs the city of Chicago, not Brandon Johnson.
Lucretia?
I have no idea. I could have sworn he said Dr. King. Dr. King what? Right now he got his own problems with the J. Edgar Hoover leak. Okay? We don't need to evoke that name anymore. Y'all need to stop. He went right. I mean, this guy.
But the sad thing to me is that he's saying that President Trump sent money to some other country when they should be sending it to him so he can keep giving it to the illegals. What you got to say, Dre?
Well, he wants 800 million more for his psychologists and counselors, and to fund money into programs where people go into neighborhoods and solve conflict between people with guns. But that doesn't work. He said that there is an addiction to militarism and there's addiction to jails. But who have we been locking up lately? We've been doing arrest and let go type thing. And we've been doing that for a while. So no one's filling these jails. These jails aren't filled. Okay? And people are doing these crimes over and over again because they know there are no consequences. And as far as the militarism goes, like, our president has been ending a lot more wars than starting them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know what he's talking about here. And he seemed really taken aback when the reporter, there was an eyebrow raise when the reporter said that he didn't know the difference between illegal immigrants and real Chicagoans. I don't know why he was like so taken aback by that, because I thought that was common knowledge.
Yep.
Randy?
It was a couple of things in that clip. When the guy asked him that question about how would you feel, if your wife Stacy, you just heard everybody, oh no, that's an inappropriate question. Don't ask him that question, because now he has to actually have accountability. Don't ask him that question. Yeah, right. Put it back in the home court. Like, okay, what if this was your family? And will you stand down your detail, since we're militarizing everybody? Why don't you get rid of your police detail, Mayor Johnson? Right. Oh, you won't do that because you're a hypocrite. Got it. Right. Okay. And so that's what, and that is what you call Class A reporting right there.
Yes.
It's Class A interrogative and investigative reporting, because he's exposing some things for us. Mm-hmm. He's exposing the hypocrisy of the Johnson administration there in Chicago. He's saying, like, look, this guy doesn't care about your families, because he's telling you to your face that, no, I'm not going to protect, your communities, because I'm protecting mine. And no, I don't care about whether or not you got killed on the streets, because I will not tolerate that, because I'm gonna make sure my family's protected. I'm not gonna protect your stuff. I'm gonna protect mine. That's what he literally just exposed that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chicago, you better wake up.
150 officers in the detail protecting him.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's fighting against the black community and telling us that we should accept the illegals and just let them be and do whatever they want to do in our community and live with it. But for 1 second, he will not lose one officer out of that detail because he's so afraid of all the stuff that he's doing, not only from the Black citizens, but from the cartel too.
Yeah,
Because now that they've taken all the cartel out, now that they've taken the cartel mostly out of Chicago, then Brandon Johnson, that was his deal. Now he is reneged on the deal, and the cartel could be coming to him.
Oh yeah.
To get him. Thoughts?
Oh well, that's him making deals underneath the table and with the devil. We just sit back and watch.
Doc?
Yeah. Well, it's sad, but justice will be served, right? He decided to sell his soul, and that check's coming due. He's not going to be able to hide anymore behind anything. There's no one to hide behind. As Andre was saying, the revolving door.
He eclipsed Brandon. You ain't never seen that when Big Boy get in front of the mic and Brandon steps to the side. It's like back there.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. But what, like Andre was saying, it's a lot more than what we see.
Yeah.
Going on, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all fares out for Mr. Johnson. I don't see him winning in 2027. I don't see him coming back.
No, because I'm gonna be the mayor. And Dre, I'm gonna get on you in just a second. Randy, your thoughts on it? Your thoughts, Randy?
Yeah. It's crazy. Mayor Johnson. I don't know. I don't want to call him a name per se.
The idiot. I'll call it for you. The idiot.
He's an idiot, yes. But he's that peg in the iron triangle where they talk about going back to Vincent Ellison. He's that third peg. He's that peg in a triangle. The politician, the preacher, and the community activist. He's that politician that's been given the charge to take care of a city, but yet he's defying his charge and he's saying, you know what, I'm going to abdicate my responsibilities. I'm going to ensure that crime is on the surge. I'm going to ensure that the illegals that don't belong here are taken care of over the residents. You know who's turning over their grave right now? Looking at all this. No. The hell with Dr. King. Nope, not him. It's Mayor Harold Washington.
Yeah.
Mayor Harold Washington is turning. He was the first black mayor of Chicago. And Brandon Johnson is the second black male of Chicago, black male mayor of Chicago. And Harold Washington is like, dude, you had just tarnished my legacy. I would not be surprised. Who? I said male.
Well, she claimed to be
okay, yeah, okay,
man,
okay, fine, okay, but you know what I mean. but that's something that we have to consider is that going forward, any black man that's going to try to run for mayor of Chicago, they're going to be facing an uphill battle because of the legacy that Mayor Brandon Johnson has left. They're going to be like, we don't know about this.
I'm so glad that you led into that. Dre, I got a word today that some of your friends is running for mayor, Danielle Carter and see, that's the reason why we in trouble. It's because somebody can get up and go down to City Hall, have no experience at leading nothing but their mouths, has no following, flip red to flip red. There's no following behind Flip Red. P. Ray Easley works with Mayor Johnson. Y'all know that. And so all of these organizations who've been down there screaming and hollering at the mayor is part of his brigade. So when you hear things like, I heard Flip Red, the lady supposed to be running for mayor, I'm like, she doesn't even have an organization. She just got out there and ran her mouth. And now everybody want to run for mayor, but they begging for money. P. Ray Easley and all the rest of them has been about money. What you think about that, Dre?
Well, first of all, I'm a coalition builder before anything. So I'm not going to count anybody out of anything. And I'm not going to talk down about anybody until they give me a reason to. They haven't given me a reason to. They've given me space in their platform to talk to people about immigration. That's what I do. That goes for P-Ray, that goes for Danielle and Chicago Flip Red. So I have nothing negative to say about them. I think that they've all been in the streets doing their part to make Chicago better. Another thing I wanted to bring up was Alderman Lopez. Alderman Lopez came out and he said that we should take quick, decisive action against this tiered attack threat against ICE. And what did Brandon Johnson say about ICE? The last thing that I remember Brandon Johnson doing about ICE when they were threatened is telling the police to stand down. So when and if you do win Pastor David Lowery, I would suggest that you think about bringing in Alderman Lopez into your cabinet, because I think he'd be somebody that you can trust. He cares about the community, because he said he wants to ensure that the community is safe first, and then that the agents are also safe. So like, those are the type of people that are actually working across the aisle. He's a Democrat, working across the aisle to work with people that want to do the right thing with immigration, and he doesn't pit people against each other. That's the most important thing. And I think it's more important that we build coalitions than to throw dirt at each other.
I understand, Dre, but in the meantime, in between time, I can't count on them for no votes. They just run their mouth.
Right, and you're running against them. So why would you try to both boost them up right now?
I know.
Like, it's a war.
The thing with me is I hardly ever, I don't bash people, but I just tell the truth. And I know that in the city of Chicago, at the grassroots level, the people that they need to vote for them or to back them up don't want to have nothing to do with them because they know them. I'm just messing with you though, but they ain't got no juice. They just running their mouth and they're begging for money. That's all that is, brother. Randy, your last words. We got to get out of here, man.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for the great discussion today. Truly appreciate. I love coming onto this panel. We have a blast, and folks, the audience out there today, please tune in to check us out on our new Facebook page. Let the truth be told. Go over there because we're trying to bring all of our traffic over to the new Facebook page, which would translate also to go over to download the Let the Truth Be Told app. So when you can't get on Facebook, or you don't get on Facebook, you can still watch us on the Let the Truth Be Told app itself. So thank you all. Tune in to my show, and you can follow me on all socials at rpearl. Ciao, ciao.
Last word, Doc.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on today. It was a great discussion just about immigration and the Black community. And definitely check out usaredemptionparty.com. We are looking for servants of the people, not politicians and members of the party. And that's usaredemptionparty.com.
Dre, your last words and we out of here.
Yeah, well, I love coming on and doing this show. Dr. Nichols, Randy, Passalari, Lucretia, my four and no more. Like, I love working with you guys. And I'm committed to growing this show and working with you guys. We have the perfect chemistry. And as we're looking at what's going on in the media, please do your research, like Randy was saying, and also start to look at the policies. Because it's one thing if we look at what's happening and complain, but if we're not taking the steps to push our elected officials to do something about it, then we're just as bad as the people that are letting everybody in. Okay? Because we're saying that we give up, we throw our hands up, whatever happens, happens. We're not going to let that happen, especially not 2026. Push your elected officials, vote.
Thank you, guys. And we'll be talking later in the week. Maybe we'll do something Friday, but I'll reach out for you. Blessings to you all.
Okay.
Blessings. God bless. Thank you.
Folks, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. And as usual, we do have a good panel that breaks things down so that the people can see and understand what's going on in our cities and in our country today. These are my last words. To the Black community, we have to rise up and understand that what we've seen with this Brandon Johnson, we saw it with Lori Lightfoot, we saw it with Rahm Emanuel, and we saw it with Barack Obama. Their mission was to destroy the Black community family structure. Barack Obama pushed the LGBT thing and the same-sex marriage law and did all sorts of stuff to the Black community behind our backs, infiltrated companies with DEI, and now this is the last straw to change everybody in our neighborhoods into being overran by illegals. These are my last words. To the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black citizens, how do you think that we're going to get out of this mess? The Black community need to be looking for some solutions, because we cannot continue down this road, because now that the illegals are here and they've embedded themselves in the Black community, how can our community thrive and become strong again if we don't own it? So to Black people, we got to get rid of all these people in power who are doing these things in our face, J.B. Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, and get things back on track at least, so we can save our future and our children and rebuild our communities and make this country, especially Black America, great again. God bless you. I'll see you next time.